Hi, everyone. Leslyn Keith, lymphedema therapist and specialist in using a ketogenic way of eating to help with lymphatic and fat disorders. And today I wanted to talk to you about a situation that might be coming up during the holidays that you want to stick to your new eating plan, your ketogenic eating plan for your own health and well-being, but it's difficult during the holidays sometimes to do that because there's lots of food choices out there that you'll be tempted by, but maybe are not on your current eating plan. So that is the first thing, is to consider what your eating plan is. What do you want to stick to? What do you want to have be your diet? What do you want to eat and not eat? And so then thinking about when you're going to have a family get together or some other special dinner or something like that, have an idea of what the food choices are going to be there. A lot of times when these typical holiday meals, you know what the food choices are going to be. And so knowing that, what do you plan to eat of those things? And what do you plan to not eat? And then when you're faced with those temptations, what do you plan to do when you have that temptation? And then who in your family or your friends will support you in your choices? So having an idea of that will help. But then here's some other strategies to think about and maybe even practice ahead of time. One thing is to have a response ready. You know that when you are on a different eating plan than everybody else, people are going to ask you questions about it. They may not even notice. But if they do and they ask you about it, have your response ready. One thing you can say is, my doctor has put me on this special diet. A lot of times then that will cause them to not try to encourage you to deviate from it because your doctor has asked you to do it. It could also be that you could say, hey, I'm testing to see if I'm allergic to things that are in that dish that you would like me to eat. So I can't eat that. And so typically you may be exploring to see if you're allergic to wheat. For instance, wheat is definitely not on a ketogenic diet. And so you could say, I'm trying to see if I'm allergic to wheat. And so I can't eat that particular dish because it has wheat in it. And a lot of times they will not continue to encourage you to eat it, knowing that you might be allergic. It could also be, you could just tell them, hey, I've been doing this eating plan for X number of weeks or months, and I've already lost this much weight, and I don't want to quit now. And I know you're going to support me because I want to continue this good work I'm doing. So elicit their help. And the last thing I would say is that sometimes people don't even notice and they don't ask you. So you certainly don't have to volunteer any information if they don't ask you about it. Another really good strategy you could try too is what I call defensive eating. So if you know you're going to be at a meal that is going to have lots of food choices that are going to be very tempting to you and you don't want to eat them, it's easier to avoid them if you're not hungry. So eating beforehand, before you go, and eating something that you find particularly delicious and satisfying but is on your eating plan, fill yourself up with that. And then when you get to that place where you have a temptation, it'll be easier for you to refuse it. A really good strategy is just to bring your own contribution. Bring something that's on your eating plan that you really enjoy. Probably other people will enjoy also. So bring something on keto that you can share with everybody else and you'll be able to enjoy yourself. One thing to look at to avoid that may have some of those hidden carbs is to really avoid a casserole because there's lots of ingredients in it and you don't know if it has hidden carbs unless you have had a discussion with the cook and they can tell you that it doesn't have any of those hidden carbs in it. And the other thing is to avoid sauces because a lot of times sauces are thickened with flour. So it's a good idea to avoid any kind of gravy or sauce. And then lastly, another strategy you can use is to fill up your plate with things that you can eat. You might be putting a big salad on that plate. Lots of turkey or ham or other things that are on your way of eating. And so your empty plate is not as obvious. People will notice if you're not eating. So having something on your plate, filling it up as much as you can with the things that are on your eating plan will be the best strategy. And then you can always just make sure you're holding a drink, preferably just a glass of water, but holding a drink, it looks like you're participating in the activity. Maybe you've decided you're just going to fast through this holiday meal, but if you at least have a drink in your hand, it looks like you're participating, and it doesn't make you so obvious. And there is lots of great cookbooks out there that have holiday foods that are keto. Sometimes they have ingredients that you're not going to want to have all the time, like nut flours and different artificial sweeteners, to make something that looks like a traditional holiday dish. So you can do something like that, or just take one of your standard keto dishes that you like to eat on an everyday basis. Is always going to be a nice contribution as well. So I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to meeting you with again next time.